Hi, my name is Rebecca Stith, and I'm with Indivisible Tacoma. And you heard, thank you. I didn't do anything, but so you heard one of the candidates for position 6, whom we've endorsed, Latasha Palmer, mentioned that she was on the charter review for the city. And so next we have candidates who are running for office to be on the Charter Review Commission for Pierce County. And as Latasha mentioned, a charter, whether it's the city or the county, is sort of the constitution of a city. It's a foundational legal document. It sets up the structure of that government. It establishes some of the key offices like city council members, the executive. Right now, for instance, it establishes an elected sheriff. A few years ago, that was changed from an appointed sheriff. One of the things the commission does is it studies the charter, it makes recommendations, it meets intensively for 6 months without pay. I don't know if you all knew that. And then it makes recommendations of amendments that go directly on the ballot. So that's really an important thing. And why are there so many people? Did you look at your list? There are a lot of candidates on here. That's because there are 7 Pierce County districts, and each one will send 3 people to be on this commission. That's 21 positions. So I'm very happy and pleased that so many of our endorsed candidates for Pierce County Charter Review are here tonight. And I'm going to say 2 more things to you. And if you have any questions about how Charter Review works, please don't ask me. The first question for the candidates, and the only question they have to answer, is what are the 1 or 2 things do you think need to be explored for change in the Pierce County Charter, and why? And I'm going to introduce the first speaker, and that's Martha Lantz. She's running for District 7.
My name is Martha Lantz. I'm running for the Charter Review Commission from District 7 for position 3. I'm running to bring experience and integrity to the charter review process. Starting with experience, I actually served on the Pierce County Charter Review Committee 10 years ago. I was elected to that position, and I staffed in my job as Deputy City Attorney for the City of Tacoma, not 1, but 2 city charter review commissions. So I know how the process works, and I'm ready to hit the ground running in that regard. In terms of the other reason why I'm running, it's integrity. I have spent my career in public service, and I believe that the government can be a force for good. And my job on this committee, on this commission, is to protect, not destroy, the fundamental premises of local government. Things to look at. Obviously, it's on everybody's mind, elected versus appointed sheriff. When our county charter was designed in 1980, the sheriff was appointed. It was changed in 2006 by a vote of the people to an election. Let's take a look at how that's working. And then there's many others, but we were to talk about 2. The other thing is a little more nuts and bolts, and that is looking with the eye of a government employee, a public servant. But do the legislative and executive branches in our county government, do they have both the accountability and the flexibility to do their job in 2025? When our charter was designed in 1980, it was in response to a very different system of government, and there haven't been that many changes. So I think it's a really good time to look at whether the sideboards that were created in 1980 are relevant still, but whether they might need some adjusting to account for the modern age. So thank you for your support, and I really appreciate being invited here tonight.
Good evening. Hello, everybody. My name is Brenda Lykins. I am a candidate for the Pierce County Charter Review Commission from District 7 for position 2. It's a 21-member commission, and there are 3 from each of the 7 districts. So I look forward to hopefully joining that. A little bit about me. I grew up in Pierce County, graduated Clover Park High School. I am a nurse practitioner by training. I went to school at University of Washington, Seattle for my undergrad and grad school. And I am a lifelong Democrat. I was in nursing school during the very initial parts of the AIDS epidemic and HIV. And I saw the cruel policies and the lack of access to care, and it was enraged. And so I protested for the first time for HIV and AIDS in Seattle. Was not arrested. despite my parents' concern. But I will move this along. I also have had a 35-year career as a nurse practitioner, but I also, like many of you, and was frustrated what was happening in the country, ran for city council in the city of Gig Harbor, took on a long 2-term incumbent, and won handily in the city of Gig Harbor, where I served until earlier this year. I was elected mayor pro tem of the city of Gig Harbor for 2 years in a row, and I also served on the Pierce County Regional Council. I moved to North Tacoma earlier this year, and so I ended up resigning my position, but I wanted to stay involved in politics. And my fellow council member from Gig Harbor, who's now our county council member, Robin Denson, and I chatted, and she thought this would be a great fit. And I love policy, and I want to bring a progressive voice to this policy. I also think that whether the sheriff should be elected or appointed is certainly what I hear most from constituents and most people's concern. I've lived here during those years, and I know that when positions are appointed versus elected, that there is a different set of accountability, and it's very difficult when someone is elected to remove them from office. So whether or not, looking at all the issues, I want to make a government that is accountable, efficient, transparent, and representative. So I welcome your vote. I sure appreciate the support, and get the word out, because these smaller positions in a municipal election year sometimes get overlooked, and we need Democrats to vote. I'm running against 2 very strong Republican opponents. So thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lisa Boyd, and I am running for Charter Review, District 6, position number 2. I did grow up in Pierce County, Lakewood, and worked there all my life, so I can say I've done all the parts of my life. Mom, teacher, principal. I was a principal for 25 years in the Clover Park School District, and so many of the things that we're advocating for impact our schools and our children and our families. And so the question was, what 2 places in the charter would we want to see some exploration and changes? And I couldn't land on 2, so I'm going to say a couple more very quickly. Affordable housing and homelessness. If we looked at Article 5, we would talk a little bit about that. As a principal, it was heartbreaking to see so many of our students, over 400 students, homeless at one time, and being able to live in their cars and still come to school and be supported in different ways. So my hope is that we'll be able to explore ways in our charter to address some of that, and to make sure that we are challenging ourselves to mitigating the problem that we see in our streets every single day. And I have so many stories I could tell, but not in 90 seconds. So I'm going to talk a little bit about public safety and community trust being another big one that I would like to explore, and how we build that in the climate that we're in right now. How can we take Article 2 structures of our governance and add to that to mitigate the problem that we have with our safe public safety and the community trust that we have in our local government. Mental health and substance abuse is another big topic that I would like to explore through the charter, and how we can change some of that. I don't know how many grandparents starting over with their kindergarten grandchildren because of substance abuse, not getting access, mental health problems that were in our schools that were just not being addressed. And those are things that I'd like to see us look at Article 2, where, and again, the structure of our governance, how do we mitigate the problems that are happening and tearing apart our young kids. Finish sentence and stop. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I can follow directions. I just want to say that I'm excited about being here with Indivisible. I don't want, just look at my website, if you will, electlisaboyd.com to learn more about me and why I'm running. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Hola, buenas tardes. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is George Conzuelo, and I am running for Pierce County Charter Commission, District 6, Position 1. Woo, let's go. So, since we have a short time, I'll make this quick. My two main priorities on the charter is based on 3 pillars that I have for my whole campaign, which is 1, youth voices, 2, immigrant and refugee community, and 3, our neighbors experiencing homelessness. So in Article 3, mind you, all of these priorities are already good work that we're doing here in Pierce County. What I'm trying to do is have them placed into the charter so that we can protect them and have them for at least the next 10 years. So for Article 3, Section 3, I want there to be more commitment to youth on boards and commissions here in Pierce County. I want to expand the allocated seat from 1 to 3. I want there to be specific language in there to be upheld. And I additionally want to establish the first Pierce County Youth Commission. This will help folks in rural communities, in unincorporated Pierce County, and in towns that do not currently have a youth commission, so that our youth can have a voice at the table. For Article 9, my second one, it's to establish a new section to have Pierce County be a welcoming county. This was inspired by the veterans policy in there, and this welcoming county policy will encompass both our immigrant and refugee community as well as our homeless neighbors, to where there will be a space for there to be policy, not getting into the weeds of it, but just for there to have a space and safety in there for them. And I will be finishing up. My campaign is the only one in my race that is youth focused. All of my campaign team is under the age of 25. They are paid. I am a young queer son of immigrants, and since the last charter, I have been doing work to prepare me for this. So thank you so much. I hope I can get your support. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. I am running for Pierce County Charter. Because I believe that not only corporations, like Pierce County doesn't belong to corporations, it doesn't belong to political insiders, it doesn't belong to extremists who want to divide us. As an artist and an organizer, I know how to bring people together, turn community values into real action. As the chair of my local Democratic Party in the 25th LD, I've led with guts, integrity, and building coalitions that will win, and I've stood toe-to-toe with powerful interests to defend workers' rights. Right now, working people are getting shortchanged. Our county hands out millions in public construction contracts, but without strong labor standards. Too many of those dollars go to low-road contractors who cheat workers and undercut the trades. So it's time to flip that script. A charter amendment can require project labor agreements and apprenticeships, so our tax dollars create good union jobs and train the next generation to keep wealth in our communities. That's how we can build a real middle class. Let's be clear, we also need to put guardrails onto extremists in office who want to break with the state law and help ICE deport our neighbors. That is not justice, it's cruelty. And the charter is our foundation, so let's make it work for all people, all of us. And raise your hand if you're an organizer in the room. Okay, everybody raise their hands because you guys are all organizers in the room from now. We'll find jobs for everybody, guaranteed. Oh, Jennifer Strickling, sorry. I give out this advice to candidates all the time, and I don't take any of my own advice. Jenn Marie Strickling, running for District 5 and Position 3. So yes, vote, yay.
Okay, it's good to be in church before you all. My name is Serad. I'm a transportation engineer for Pierce County. I'm an Air Force veteran, and as of Monday, I got married to my husband. Don't tell anybody, don't let that leave the room, but I am running for Pierce County Charter Review District 5 Position 2 because I believe that county government should be effective, it should be accessible to everybody, and it should not be the tool for the rich and powerful and the influential to exploit. There are two areas that I'm exploring in particular with voters in my district to change within the charter. First, it's to clarify the roles and responsibilities of elected officials in Pierce County, in particular within the executive branch. The county executive is the chief executive officer of Pierce County, and they set the priorities and direction of the executive branch, and that needs to be firmed up. As you all, I think, know, there's been some confusion in that regard, and we can nip that in the bud. Second, I do want to insert language within the charter that says all executive branch officers are limited by and are required to uphold the Washington State Constitution and all laws of the state of Washington. Additional confusion that we can resolve pretty quickly with some charter amendments. The charter is a living document, and it is time for a review with a fresh pair of eyes. I'm a planning commissioner for the city of Tacoma, a former transportation commissioner for the city of Tacoma, and I have a master's in public administration. I am ready and equipped to do this work. I would love your support, and I would love to get to know you all. Thank you.
Everyone. I'm speaking tonight for my friend and colleague Giovanni Vendetti. He sends his regrets for not being here. He's currently attending a Pierce Conservation District Board meeting where he gets to serve as an associate board member. He's so very grateful for your time and has asked me to share this message on his behalf. So he is running for Charter Review District 5 Position 1 because he believes in Pierce County's future, being more accountable, inclusive, and a representative government. He's the only candidate running in Position 1 who supports placing a charter amendment before voters to make the Pierce County Sheriff an appointed position, something that we've heard a lot about tonight. Yeah, it's important. The sheriff's office should not be held hostage by partisan politics. Exactly. Giovanni believes that this position should be selected by the county executive and confirmed by the council. He also supports expanding the county council from 7 to 9 seats, increasing access to representation. Cool. And he will stand up for union jobs, fight for working families, and support policies that lead to a fair, more just economy for all. He believes that every Pierce County resident deserves to feel welcome and safe no matter their zip code, race, language, ability, or who they love. That belief is central to the charter, to charter changes that he will champion, and he brings deep experience in public service, nonprofit leadership, and policy work. He currently serves on the Pierce Conservation District Board, as I mentioned earlier, the Pierce County Lodging Tax Advisory Commission, and Pierce County's Mid-County Land Use Advisory Commission. He humbly asks for your support and thanks you for your time.
Hi, Indivisible. My name is Jake Hunter. I am running for, I have to write it down because it's such a mouthful, Pierce County Charter Review, District 4, Position 3. I want to thank everybody for being out tonight. This civic engagement is really important, especially in times like this, so thank you all for doing this. And also I want to thank the candidates. I'm fairly new to electoral or elected politics, and it is way more work than I thought it would be. So thank you everybody for doing this. It's not easy. I'm an enrolled agent. Nobody knows what that means. If you'd like more information, ask me after the meeting, but it means I do tax stuff. I own a small tax firm in downtown Tacoma. I do IRS representation for the taxpayer side, not the IRS side, if that's important. And so I interpret tax policy for a living. I'm gonna second the sheriff being appointed. I really support that. I also heard something earlier, the council expanding the size. Currently, a legislative district is smaller than a Pierce County Council district, so I think our Pierce County Council could be more representative. And in times like this, it's really important for us to strengthen our local institutions because the federal ones are crumbling around us. So that's why I hope to earn your vote for Pierce County Charter Review, and thank you for having me.
Hi folks, my name is Devin Rydel Kelly. I am a longtime community leader and organizer with decades of experience organizing in labor, politics, the environment, and more, and most recently with Tacoma for All. I'm running for Pierce County Charter Review, District 4, Seat 2, because I think we need to enshrine protections, rights, and access for Tacoma and Pierce County's diverse working class. I think it's essential that we fight to Trump-proof Tacoma and Pierce County. I keep saying Tacoma because I live in Hilltop and I love it there. And to really enshrine protections for everybody. So I'm going to talk about 2 issues really quick here today, but I have a bold platform and I encourage you to check out my website. First, I recently read this book, The Power of the Badge. It is the first political science history on the office of the sheriff as an elected office in the United States, and I can tell you, it is fundamentally undemocratic. It is fundamentally unaccountable. All of the evidence, all of the data, all of the anecdotal evidence from around the country supports this. We need to move to an appointed sheriff system unequivocally. King County has done it. We need to go beyond that. We need to create a commission, an Office of Sheriff and Police Accountability that is a appointed county commission. And I actually support even bolder reforms like separating out the jail system from policing to create additional layers of accountability. The other thing is that we should be thinking about charters as visionary constitutions about the world we want. I think it is time for our charter, like many others have done, to deeply enshrine protections from all residents. That includes people foreign-born, regardless of their birthplace, our LGBTQ family and friends, people of all abilities, and workplace rights to organize, to have a union, to bargain for a contract, and more. I ideally believe this would be done in a preamble or in an independent Bill of Rights. Charters can do that, and we should be fighting for something that bold because that's how we're going to beat Trumpism. I'm really excited to have Indivisible's endorsement, the endorsement of many prominent organizations and leaders, and I strongly encourage you to check out my website, get on my newsletter. I send weekly newsletters about policy, platforms, protests, and actions in the community at www.devinforthepeople.org. Thank you.
Mabuhay, everyone. Hello. My name is Maricres, or Mar Castro, and I'm running for Pierce County Charter Review, District 4, Position 1, because I stand with all of you. As soon as I heard about how the current sheriff is willing to collaborate with ICE, I knew I needed to do something. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm running, to clearly limit that collaboration with any agency for immigration enforcement. Our resources in our district are already spread so thin, and we should not be involved with spending local resources on a federal priority that does not have our local best interests of our communities in mind. And I want to bring community members to have a seat at the table of decision-making for our charter, like what we did last year when I served on the Charter Review Committee for Tacoma, especially for the removal of citizenship as a requirement to work for the city of Tacoma, which passed. Thank you so much. Thank you. I see some charter, see you. We did that because we wanted to make sure everyone had a seat at the table, and our charter did landmark, I think, outreach with leadership alongside community leaders. For the first time, we championed translating our foundational governing document into Spanish, Vietnamese, Khmer, and Tagalog. And we were able to make sure that public comment had live translation available so that we're not just advertising, we are inviting, and we want to listen to what you have to say because your voice matters. And I want to ignite that same immigrant energy to fight back. And I feel very confident that we can have a seat at the table of decision-making to make sure our communities are protected from harmful and heartless immigration enforcement. I currently serve as a Commissioner for Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, and Tacoma has been my home, especially my mom, who brought me back here after our parents separated in the Philippines. She's a naturalized citizen, and this is very personal to me to hear that our president is trying to take away her rights. So I want to defend my mom, I want to defend our communities, and that's why I'm running, and because I love Tacoma, so I love it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. How are you guys doing tonight? My gosh, it is so inspiring to see all of these candidates and everyone here fighting for the justice that we deserve, especially in Pierce County. I want to introduce myself. My name is Ty Vo, and I'm running for the Pierce County Charter Review Commission, District 4 and Position 1. This includes Hilltop, Central and South Tacoma, Downtown Tacoma, University Place, and Faircrest. As a young, queer Vietnamese American whose father's family came here as refugees, I know what it feels like to grow up in a system that doesn't see you. If elected, I would be the youngest person ever to serve on this commission because it's time for new voices to have real power in shaping our future. Thank you. I'm running to to fight for communities that are too often pushed. Oops, sorry, a little too loud. Sorry. I'm running to fight for the communities that are too often pushed to the margins. Immigrants, refugees, LGBTQIA+, youth, and working class families. Too many of us have grown up in a system that were never built for us, let alone with us. I believe the charter should reflect the lived experiences of our people, not just policies on paper, but protection in practice. That's why I will advocate for embedding a permanent youth advisory council directly into the charter so that young people like me, especially from underserved backgrounds, have a real seat at the table and a voice in the decisions shaping our future. I'll also fight for expanded language access and cultural outreach so that families, regardless of the language they speak or where they come from, can fully understand what is actually happening in their government and, more importantly, have the meaningful way to engage. But my fight doesn't stop there. I'm also running to protect my immigrants and refugee families like mine. That means ensuring that local services stay free from ICE involvement, because no family should fear seeking help. It means exploring in legal defense funds so those facing deportation have access to fair representation, and it means holding our government accountable to sanctuary and inclusion policies, not just as empty promises, but through enforceable, transparent practices. This work is personal to me. As a young, queer Vietnamese American whose family came here as refugees, I know how it feels to be left out. I know how it feels running to make sure that no one feels this way again. Everyone deserves to be protected, heard, and empowered, especially by the foundation of our government. This charter review is our chance to really hardwire justice, dignity, and belonging into the foundation of Pierce County. I'm ready to bring that live experience, that urgency, and my love for this community to work ahead. And as I close, could I have a big favor from you guys? As I say indivisible, can you shout out Tacoma? Can we do that? Indivisible. 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 Thank you.
Hello, good evening. I am Kate Ginn. I'm also running for Pierce County Charter Review Commission District 4, Position 1, and I just want to say I think it's incredible. There's a noise. I think it's incredible that Indivisible endorsed all three of us. Okay, great. Yes, I want to acknowledge there's three of us that Indivisible endorsed, and I feel so privileged to have gotten to know Ty and Marmar, and they're incredible. So I am privileged to be here. I have been working the past 7 years in early childhood advocacy in Pierce County, so I'm familiar with coalition building around improving the system of support, especially for families with young children. I'm a social worker by training, so I'm familiar with consensus building as well as working with the county and the city of Tacoma on improving their contracting and procurement processes. The 1 to 2 areas I will get to as an extreme rule follower really quickly. Reducing responsibility for the sheriff office. I also had noted not just appointment, but instituting an Office of Law Enforcement Oversight. King County has that in our charter. We don't need commissions and boards to be enshrined in our charter. I helped start the Birth to 25 Advisory Board. That's something we can do outside of it, but the importance of it being in the charter is it's required, it doesn't go away. So I do think law enforcement oversight as well as the Youth Commission should be in the charter specifically. And then as an HR person, why I like appointments is they're competitive. As long as there's time, there's competitive HR processes and hiring processes. You can actually establish qualifications for a role. If we had qualifications for a president, we wouldn't have the president we currently have. And then my last thing, just for democratic access, would be looking at ranked choice voting, because I haven't heard anyone mention that yet. And I think the fact that you have 3 great candidates for position 1 is a good example of why ranked choice voting is needed. So if you don't know what it is, look it up. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's John Linboe. I'm running for Pierce County Charter Review, District 3, Position 3. As a fire commissioner for South Pierce Fire and Rescue, a director for Washington Fire Commissioners Association, and a 40-year union member, I know what it means to have government and have a true partnership with emergency services, which is truly important to me. One of the key areas I believe the Charter should explore is on how to ensure greater transparency and accountability and a long-term planning when it comes to public safety, especially in our rural parts of Pierce County. Our fire districts and EMS providers are stretched thin, and we need a system that supports coordination funding and so we can continue to protect our community effectively. At the same time, through my volunteer work with the Pierce County Fair Market Sale, I've connected with a lot of people in the rural communities that feel like voices are not being heard in the county level. This also could be because our representative's afraid of the pride flag, I'm not sure. I believe we need to take a close look at how representation is structured, whether the council reflects on diversity, geography, or people it serves, or whether the rural communities have an equitable access to resources and decision makings. I'm probably one of those communities that is very large and probably should be split in half. The charter review is like our county constitution. Reviewing it is just about fixing problems. It's about making sure our government grows with the needs of the people. I'm running for this position because I care deeply about the Pierce County. I'm a lifelong resident, and I'd like to grow with the future and help kind of guide it. I have a degree in work and labor policies and also workforce development. So I think I'm a good candidate for developing new policies. Thanks for your time. Please vote for me.
Hi, everybody. This time I'm not here to tell you my name, but Teresa Matson's name, who's running for District 2 in Position 3. She emailed me this statement. She's out of town for personal reasons and could not be here today. So the county is working on 2 things that need to be explored for change in Pierce County Charter. The county is working on implementing a housing plan. With that comes concern, affordable housing availability, equitable access to housing. We need to explore options to make sure families have access to resources needed. I want to dig in and find the root of these issues and work for the community to come up with a resolution that everyone can agree on. We have infrastructure that needs attention. Our schools are number 1. We have growth in the population and balancing that growth with the ecological preservation and natural habitats. I want to push harder so that the buildings have a positive impact on our community and not something that adds to the light pollution and local habitats. I deeply appreciate Jenn for giving this speech on my behalf, and I look forward to being a person that can represent our community and work towards a better Pierce County where everyone is welcome and everyone is safe. So vote for Teresa. She's wonderful, and I am very excited for our next speaker, Marianna, who is the current chair of the Pierce County Dems and who is a total badass. So vote for her too.
Good evening, and what an honor to be here with Indivisible Tacoma. This is super exciting. I found out about this endorsement Father's Day at the Mariners game. I had to double check my phone and be like, what the hell? How did this happen? This is amazing. So Marianna Hyke, I'm running for Pierce County Charter Review Commissioner, 25th LD, so right down the road. Position 2, District 2, and there's quite a few different reasons why I'm running. As somebody who works in construction, I'm a proud dues-paying member of Local 196, which is the Pile Drivers and Divers. A lot of people are like, what the heck is that? We build bridges, we build docks, we build wharfs. We're on barges in the middle of Puget Sound, driving sheets of pile to help stabilize commercial buildings. I'm the political coordinator for the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, which represents over 18,000 members here in Washington State, 93,000 members across our 12-state regional council.
As was mentioned, I get to hang out and be the chair of the Pierce County Democrats, which is pretty exciting, good work. I also sit on various CTE educational school boards, Tacoma Public Schools, Puyallup Public Schools, Pierce County Skill Center. I'm also an advisory committee member for the LEAP advisory for the city of Seattle. So I'm very much involved in the community. I've lived in Puyallup since 2003. I went to high school. I worked at my first actual paying job was Fred's strawberry fields in the cannery. Worked at the Durst Elephant Ears. If anybody's ever heard of that at the Puyallup Fair, it's like the best elephant ears stand you could ever think of. So I grew up in Puyallup. I grew up in Pierce County. I raised my family, who are now alumni of Puyallup High School, Rogers High School, Burlette Elementary, Aylen Junior High. And so I really fight for strong labor standards, what we call project labor agreements, community workforce agreements, which ties to apprenticeship utilization, good family wage jobs, but most important, local hire, because we want to make sure that the jobs that we get here stay here. When we talk about community wealth, when we talk about generational wealth, and they also, the underground economy, we need to know who's coming to our cities to do the work. We can't outsource that. Keep that work here. Keep it with good paying jobs for us, right? Last sentence. Look, I've lived here for a long time. I know this isn't your guys' jurisdiction, but please show a little love to the 20th LD. We need it more than ever. Come knock doors for us. We're here. We love you. Thank you so much. Next is Billy Joe.
Evening, everybody. It's great to be here. My first meeting with Indivisible Tacoma. My name is Billy Hetherington. I am the vice chair with Jenn and I are the leadership team of the 25th LD. A little bit about myself. Well, first of all, I'm running for commissioner in District 2, Position 1. A little bit about myself. I'm the current political director for Labor's Local 242. We're a construction local in King County. I also serve as the PAC chair for the building trades in King County, formerly the PAC chair for MLK Labor. It's the Labor Council in King County. So a lot of my day job is a lot of political work up in King County. So it's great to kind of see new, fresh faces here for myself and start building the relationships here in the area that I want to take more stronger leadership in. So looking at the schedule that was put out before this, seeing I was down towards the bottom, I tried to think of some things that other people wouldn't said. Yeah, I didn't do so well. So, but what does that say about the candidates that are running for your charter review? That a lot of us have the same ideals and the same passions, right? A lot of stuff that I do in King County, Marianna and myself do is around workforce development. I am the organizer of the largest career fair for juniors and seniors in the state of Washington. We mix building trades with other career jobs, and we want to make sure that our youth are engaged and involved, not only in the political realm too as well. So my brother George over there was the first one to talk about more youth engagement. That was one of my other things that I want to talk about too as well. So youth engagement, workforce development, contracting and procuring that the county does. Like Marianna said, we want to make sure that all of our taxpayer dollars are going to good living wage jobs and putting it right back here in our community. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Tamara Stramel, and I am running for Charter Review in District 1, Position 3. And I am the only one in our district that has a primary, so really ready for your guys' support. I am so thankful for the endorsement. I learned about it when I came into the room today, so I was really quite pleasantly surprised. I know I must have friends in this room, probably from my 7 years on the executive board within the 31st Legislative Democrats, and now on the State Central Committee as our rep, and which Shasti Conrad, our chair, nicely appointed me to the Advocacy Committee, which I'm on my 3rd year of doing that. Yes, I filed for this position because I thought it would be fun. It has turned into a little bit more of a race than I expected. District 1 is a little bit more red, as you all probably know, and so my opponent is also. I'm still excited to bring the joy and to collaborate with so many fabulous people if we all get elected. The big issues to me, the first one felt like updating our non-discrimination. I don't know if anybody's read through the charter, but the last paragraph is clearly from the 1980s. It does not match the protected classes of 2025, and I think with the controversy about things like the pride flag and things, it would be very helpful if the charter was clearer on which groups we welcome, and that would be an easy step to get forward. I also agree with my fellow charter people who mentioned the Office of Oversight for
the sheriff's office. I think that would be a great way to go. It is in other charters in the county, so we have a way to go there. Yes, I'm so thankful to be here, and I will end up, and then I think Kelsey is up next. Oh no. All right, Daniel's up next. Thank you, guys.
Going a little crazy, I figured move it a bit away from the metal there. Hopefully it doesn't feedback. Now, my name's Nathanial Downs. My friends call me Nate. I'm running for the Charter Review, District 1, Position 2. And as mentioned, our district is very red, stretches all the way from South Hill all the way up to the mountain and past. Always fun. Going door to door. I've done door to door there. It's a long, long walk. Anyway, now our charter had a few revisions, but there are sections that's so out of date at this point. Our county now has twice as many people, has just as many representatives as it had. We have less, as mentioned before, we have less representation on the county board than we do in the state legislature now. That's not good for democracy. That does not represent us. We have changed around which offices are elected, which offices are appointed. We need to review those. There are some offices that are currently appointed that state law indicates should probably be elected instead. We should probably review that. I actually have a whole document at home where I've been printing up the charter as it is and just going line by line with a red pen to be like, okay, this needs a little revision. There's tweaks here. And I'm planning on getting that out probably in the next few weeks. I do not have a primary, so I'm not doing any heavy pushing until next month because we need to focus on the primary candidates right now. And as ever, my name's Nathanial Downs, and thank you for having me.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm the last one, so you're almost there. I'm Kelsey Barrans, and I am running for Charter Review. I'm sure that's a surprise at this point. District 1, Position 1. I'm also not in the primary, so lots of love to Tamara back there. So many of the candidates have already talked about the things that I think are incredibly important. I do think looking at how folks are held accountable for the decisions they make, for the things that they are or are not doing in service of the folks that they are meant to serve is incredibly important, especially, obviously, someone who's in charge of the law enforcement for our entire county. So that is really important to me for us to look at. And also, District 1, a little bit different than what some of y'all engage with every day. And one of the things that I think is really important to the folks out in the area, I live in Graham, is talking about how, I had it 2 seconds ago in my brain, looking at eminent domain. There's been a lot of issues out where I am about that, and so just really looking at how does that policy engage our entire county. So those are the two things that I am thinking about right now in collaboration with all of the other amazing issues that folks have brought up, but you all don't need to hear about all of them all over again. So I'm just really happy to be here tonight. Thank you so much for having me. Again, Kelsey Barrans, District 1, Position 1. Thanks.
So that concludes all of our excellent candidates. I am thrilled. I hope that you were uplifted as I was hearing about all of the goals and the excellent skills that these people have. I mean, it's just really unbelievable. So thank you so much for coming.